All right. Well, welcome, Monsters fans, to round two of our Monsters distancing dialogues as we all navigate this COVID-19 pandemic together. Our distancing dialogues are now presented by Musselman's. And folks, be sure to pick up Musselman's applesauce at your local grocery store. Visit musselmans.com for delicious and nutritious applesauce and apple butter recipes. So what better way to set the tone for today's guest? It's Paul Bittner joining us all the way from Wisconsin, where you are sheltering in place, I'm told. And Bits, I got to say, it's good to see you, man. How you been?
Yeah, it's good to see you too, Tony. It's been a minute. It's been a little weird, this time of the year we see each other a lot. So it's been good. It's just trying to keep my sanity here in Wisconsin with my brother and his girlfriend. It's just it's been tough, mental battle for sure. Just sitting inside and not being able to play hockey or go to the rink and see the guys or anything like that. But other than that, it's been, it's just been hanging out.
Making the best of it for sure. So let's start here. Let's take us back to that road trip in Charlotte. I mean, it was 10th or 11th of the month of March, something like that. And, we wrapped up that last game. That's when all the news broke about Rudy Gobert and the Utah Jazz and the NBA. And we were all sort of wondering what was going to happen. I rode the bus back that night, but you flew with the team the next morning. Just take us through what you guys woke up to in terms of the news, the situation, and what it was like sort of coming back, realizing that maybe there weren't going to be any more games for a while.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of had that feeling going into that last game in Charlotte that, T-Bone was hearing things with the health advisors with the AHL and the NHL, hearing it from Boder and things like that. We kind of had an understanding of what was really going on, and not a full, to this extent, quarantine for the last month, but, we knew things weren't good and we didn't know what was going to go on with the season. And our thought process going to that last game was, hey, if this is the last game, give it all we got, but leave nothing in the tank then. So it's one of those things that was a really weird thing to judge or juggle, or whatever you want to call it, where we didn't really know what was going to happen after that game or even during the game. It could have been canceled during the game, just like the Utah Jazz and whoever they were playing that night. So it was just something that was just was out of our control, but we made a lot of jokes about it.
Yeah, as is the way we deal with things in the hockey business, for sure, finding the lighter side of it. But so after that, so you get back to Cleveland, there's still some uncertainty as to whether or not, everyone can go home, right? So what were the next few days for you like there as you were waiting for word from the Blue Jackets, from the Monsters, from the coaching staff, just, sort of waiting kind of in limbo to see whether or not, you need to stay in town or if you could go get back to your families? Because I know it was a big concern at the time. We didn't know much about what was going on. I'm sure everyone had the impulse, they'd love to be with their loved ones at a time like this.
Yeah, I think the most challenging thing was for the European players getting back home and then having the ability, if we do resume seasons here with the AHL, the NHL, just being able to get back into the country is one of the things that was the toughest to juggle. For us being North American, for us North Americans, it was easy. We could just go home. Like a bunch of guys are from Toronto area, a bunch of guys from East, a bunch of guys from Chicago area. So it just made sense for us to go home at the time. And waiting for all that to handle and come out was just kind of like where we are now. Like, all right, but what's next? Like, what's going to happen next? What are we waiting for now? What's going to happen? So it was just one of those things. It was just a really weird thing to even wrap your head around. And the boys and I were always making jokes like, all right, so are we done or are we not done, or are we playing? Can we go home? Or what's going on? Are we extending our leases? Like, it was a lot of nerve wrack, that's for sure. But I think the best thing happened, and they let us go home and see our friends and families and be with them. So I think that was the best decision ultimately.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's nice that you could get back to Wisconsin, see your brother. I mean, for me, like, one of the biggest silver linings of this whole deal is normally at this time of the year, we're all on the road so much, and there's none of that time you can spend with family. So just being able to be at home a little bit. I mean, it's not ideal. We'd all love to be playing hockey, but that's maybe one of the good things you can take out of this. How's that been for you, sort of reconnecting and spending some time with your brother, and just, for this time of year being in a totally different situation than normal?
Yeah, it's pretty fun. We lived together one summer about 3 summers ago, and I was actually texting my parents about it, and I was going to go home, as in Minnesota home, Crookston, Minnesota home, and spend time with them. But I thought about it, and my summer plans have kind of brought me to maybe a Grand Rapids, Michigan this summer. So I was like, well, geographically, it wouldn't really matter if I went home. It'd be better if I stayed in Wisconsin with Ryan. Then I could be closer to my oldest brother who just had his firstborn. So I was like, just makes more sense. And, you know, being here with my bro, it's been great. You know, I mean, we always like to have fun, play video games. We always talk. I talk to him probably almost every other day, or if not every day. And, you know, living with him, it's just fun. It's just bring us back to our childhood, you know, maybe not agreeing on most things, maybe kitchen wise or cleanup wise or whatever. But, you know, we try to make the best of it together and spend as much time as we can together. And with this quarantine, it's been great, you know, just hanging out. And
we're talking here with Paul Bittner. It's our Monsters Distancing Dialogues presented by Musselman's. And again, we want to remind you guys, pick up Musselman's at your local grocery store and visit them online at musselmans.com. It's, you know, you talk about staying busy and having some fun, enjoying, finding the, you know, positives out of this situation, enjoying your time with your brother. What are some of the things you guys are doing? Like, what are you watching on TV? What kind of video games are you playing? How are you passing the time here?
Well, we've had a few different ideas over the last few weeks here. So one of my best friends growing up actually lives in Hudson, Wisconsin, which is only about 2 hours from where we are now. And he lives at his dad's house, and it's just him, his dad, and his little sister. And they invited us out the last few weekends to come out to, I call it their ranch. They have it's not a ranch. It's about only like 30 acres of land, but it's enough land to get some mini bikes and create some trails through some woods and things like that. So we've been having the social distance 500 tour to mini bikes every weekend. And then, so that's been a hell of a time. But during the week, we try to stay active. You know, I try and run at least once or twice a day, once in the morning, and then once maybe a walk at night. But yeah, you know, staying active is the best thing for sure. I mean, I took a few weeks off there and came back into it. I went running the first time about 3 days ago, and I can tell you, my lungs were not feeling it. I was huffing and puffing and spitting out phlegm. It was tough, but we've had a few ideas to keep busy here. A lot of video games, a lot of golfing. There's this golfing game we got on. It's called the Golf Club PGA Tour, and there's a bunch of guys on that. And then I've been playing a lot of Rocket League, like RC car games with it's like soccer, but it gets intense. There's been a lot of things. There's been a lot of things to keep us busy here. Here's a puzzle that we're actually working on right now. If I can flip the camera or not. Working on the Star Wars here.
Whoa, there you go. Yeah, making some progress.
It's going to be a big one if I can find the box. But yeah, it's huge. It's going to be sweet.
Good stuff, man. That social distancing 500 sounds unreal. That sounds great.
It's great. I got some great clips of us ripping some mini bikes, and it is hilarious actually seeing me on like a little mini bike. It's like a 90cc, and I'm like, my legs are flaring off the side of it because I'm staying on balance and things. Because I mean, it's still cold up here. It's still about 30. It's the frost is still defrosting from under the earth there. So I mean, when it gets dry, or not dry but warm outside, she's a slick track. It's slick out there.
Oh, you're gonna have to post some videos or some photos. That sounds unbelievable.
All right, so you guys a few or something.
Yeah, please do. All right, so I wanted to get back just a little bit to the hockey side of things, because, you know, I mean, again, during the season, when all things are normal, that's like that's your life. That's what you guys do: eat, sleep, and breathe 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And now all of a sudden, in a pretty abrupt way, that kind of goes away, and we're waiting now to see if, you know, when or if, you know, we'll be able to resume playing, all of those things. So there's a lot of uncertainty, and for somebody like you that's, you know, you're not new to this. You've been playing hockey your entire life here. You know, you probably haven't had a March or an April without hockey in I don't know how many years. You know, I feel the same way. So like, how are you sort of dealing with that and trying to at least somewhat stay kind of mentally engaged and ready if something were to change and we could resume, but also just sort of battling through what can be a little disorienting, especially when it's all that you know. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is tough. Let me tell you, you know, you always think about it. The first thing to go in the hockey world is your hands. So I think that's the toughest thing to keep is your hands, is keep working on your hands and things like that. And then another thing to stay within the hockey mode is just go watch clips. I mean, we have that app called the Exos Thunder app, and it has all our games from this year, past years, and everything like that. So we can go back. I can go back and just kind of stay up with the timing, stay up what I'm doing, stay up with our systems and things like that to keep your mind ready, always on alert and ready to go whenever, we do resume or if we do resume. So I think that's one thing. And then another thing is just maybe go rewatch some games on the NHL network, or just literally just watch hockey, and it'll get you back into the mindset for sure. I mean, I was watching before I left Cleveland. I went over to Gerb's to help him move some things out of the house, and he had a bunch of hockey on, and I was like, oh, we sat down for a quick minute just to take a break, and I got kind of right back into it. It was only about a week or two or out from when it abruptly ended, and it just kind of got me back into it, like really wanting to get into it and work on the game. So it's one of those things that you just got to keep working on and just keep watching hockey, and it'll keep you in the game itself.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder what it's like for you guys. I know everyone's gone their separate ways, and some guys are overseas, some guys, still in Cleveland, some guys like you are back, more towards their hometowns. But how are you guys staying connected? I know everyone's focused on their own families right now, but are you guys staying in touch? Like, what's the communication like between you, your teammates, your coaching staff, and everybody throughout this time?
I talk to Gerbs about, I'd say, almost every day. So him and I talk, but I've been keeping in touch with Doyle a lot. I created a few group chats on Snapchat of some of the boys and some other boys and things like that. So I keep in contact with that. I mean, I love Snapchat and seeing what people are doing, live chat, so it's one of those things that I like to keep in touch with is Snapchat. And then, you think of somebody that you've played with or are playing with, or just an old buddy, you just send them out a text. I mean, everybody's doing nothing right now, so why not just send out a text, see what they're doing, have a little conversation, make sure they're all right, everybody's A-okay, and just kind of stick with it and make sure everybody's doing what they need to do to stay ready to resume the seasons.
For sure. We're talking here with Paul Bittner. It's episode 2 of our Monsters Distancing Dialogues, presented by Musselman's Applesauce. Remember, pick up Musselman's when you're headed to the store, and visit musselmans.com for some awesome recipes. We know Jaw Callender likes to throw the old applesauce in his oatmeal bits. That's his nutritious tip for you there. Yeah, that's his thing.
Go to.
I want to get back to, we've been talking about trying to find the positives through this situation, but there's no denying that it's a challenging deal. Just being socially isolated. It's important that we're doing this for all of our healthcare workers, for all of ourselves, to stay healthy and keep everyone or the biggest number of people we possibly can healthy. But it doesn't mean it's easy to stay cooped up and to stay far apart physically from the other people you might run across in your day-to-day life. So in that regard, how are you handling this distancing period? And I know for me, I just can't think of a time where it's been like this before in my life, really. We're so used to being out, and whether it's in the workplace or whatever, interacting with people. So it's definitely been difficult to sort of wrap your head around staying at home. How are you dealing with those sorts of things?
I suck at this. I mean, you know me, I'm an adventurous kind of guy. I like to get out and see things and do things. So for me, it's been tough. I want to go, I'm in Wisconsin here, and some of my buddies live in Duluth, Minnesota, and I can't even go visit them. It's only 2 hours away, and I'm like, I'm right there. We go hang out, guys. But I was like, we just can't. So for me, it sucks. It's really hard for me to just stay inside and not do anything, because I like being active. I like going to parks. I like just doing things that get me out of the house. Whereas, it's kind of flipped upside down now, where everybody wants to get out of the house and is excited to leave the house rather than excited to be in the house. After work, after a hard day's work, everybody's excited to come home, pop a wine bottle or whatever it is they do to relax and be at home. But now everybody's just cooped up, and everybody's like, get me the hell out of here. And I'm the same way. I want to go live my life. I want to go do the things we've always been doing. So it's a challenge for sure. And, you just got to stay inside, and I urge people to stay safe and do exactly what they're telling us to do, because it'll stop this virus, and we'll get over it for sure.
Yeah, I really appreciate that message. It really is important. I know everyone's feeling frustrated. I mean, folks that are running businesses that are taking a huge hit right now, all of us from a personal standpoint, struggling with this, but thanks for saying that, because it really is important to just, basically the better we do at this distancing right now is the quicker that we can get back to things, right? So
yep.
Slipping now and being tempted to sort of ease up is not a good thing to do. So I appreciate you saying that. And before we go, Bits, because we're sort of wrapping things up here, I just wanted to get a word from you for all the folks here in Cleveland. I know hockey fans are having a hard time. They're used to seeing you guys. They're used to coming to Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse and having fun, and that's been kind of taken away right now. So for all the folks that make your guys' life easier by supporting you throughout the season, what's your message to those guys right now who are definitely going to love seeing your face with this, but miss seeing you on the ice?
Yeah, well, to the fans, I mean, the best fans in the league, might I add, we miss you guys tremendously. We want to be battling in the queue, hearing your cheers and shouts when we score. We miss it. We miss you guys, but, just know the urgency. Stay home. Do your due diligence. Suffer it out now, and come fall, hopefully this will all be over and a thing in the past.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time, man. It's good to see you, and glad you're having fun up there in Wisconsin. And I got to see this track, the social distancing 500. That sounds fantastic, man. So
I'll send you a couple pictures.
Yeah, thank you very much. Great seeing you, and take care. Stay safe, stay home, all that good stuff. Hopefully we'll see you before long, Bits.
All right. Thanks, Tony. Appreciate it.
All right. This has been our Distancing Dialogues presented by Musselman's. Paul Bittner, kind enough to join us from central Wisconsin, and we'll talk to you guys very soon back here on the Monster Social Channels.